and welcome to This Car Pod.
I'm Kennan.
I'm Nick.
And there's a lot to talk about. I'm traveling, so I'm here. I've got a microphone today. We'll cover that. Let's talk news.
All right, news. Jumping right in. So Ferrari has announced after the Luce, they needed some good news. So they announced that it's been rumored there is going to be a manual version of the 12 Cilindri. It will be a limited edition car, allegedly. But the reason we say this is there have been some trademark filings recently that have shown that suggests that a manual could be coming for this car, which is very exciting.
I want to be clear. Ferrari could use some goodwill right now, but they have not announced anything. They're not confirming this. They're not saying that for sure this is true.
But
God,
it is. You hope it is.
Yeah, it would be nice. For sure it would be nice, especially after that travesty. Jesus.
So the thing about this car, though, is that if it does come into existence, the rumors that it will be a limited edition car. It's not like they're bringing the manual back for all models. It would just be a very special car, which means, of course, that it's only would end up in the hands of a few clients. It'd be worth $1 gazillion, blah, blah, blah. But the idea that they're doing it is interesting. But there's some different filing I thought that was more interesting, and that is they're coming up with it's a digital manual gearbox. So it's like a manual, but it doesn't actually connect to anything. And this would be for potentially EV applications, so you can feel like you're shifting a manual, even though it doesn't actually, it's not actually connected to anything. We've heard this rumored before that this might be something that exists. We've talked a lot about the Hyundai products there. It feels like you're shifting a dual clutch. If they're bringing that technology out for cars potentially like the Luce or other electric products, I think it's interesting. But
I hate to be a cynic, but it feels like they're just throwing a bone to the enthusiasts to shut us up after we all collectively lost our minds over the Luce, rightfully so.
Well, I still haven't weighed in on that because I was very ill, as you can probably.
We'll get to the Luce. Well, all right, fine. Kennan, tell us your thoughts on the Luce. Kennan was gone last week when we hammered on the Luce. What do you got?
Well,
Kennan's a Ferrari man. Kennan is an enthusiast of the brand.
Yeah, diehard enthusiast of the brand. To be honest with you, my feeling is I just don't care. For me, the thing is, modern Ferrari products haven't really. The only modern Ferrari products that have gotten me going, like the Daytona SP3, I think is the coolest thing they've done in probably 15 years. But a lot of the Ferrari products, I'm not the customer for a $670,000 EV, but I'm also not the customer for any new Ferrari. The Ferraris I like tend to be older ones anyway. And so for me, it doesn't actually have that much of an impact on my life. I think that for the brand, it's clear that navigating these waters are going to be really challenging for them. And the market has spoken clearly. Every enthusiast in the entire world has made their opinion known. But for me, it's I don't feel as passionately about it because it's just not the kind of car. I just am not a customer of this. I'm not a modern Ferrari customer. So ultimately, as an enthusiast, I can be outraged about it. But if I'm not actually buying the product, I don't feel that it makes that big of a difference for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think that the opinions, I think a lot of people buy Ferraris because they want to make a statement and
this makes a statement. Yeah. There's no question about that.
My point is, people want to buy a Ferrari because they want to make a statement. And even if you're not a customer of the car and you think it's stupid and you think it's ridiculous and terrible, you are feeding into the wrong statement, and that will prevent people from buying the car. Do you know what I mean? If the social collective is... If the social collective is that the car is stupid, then the car will not. That will be a factor in the car not selling. And I don't think it's that crazy for people to have that opinion and to make it known.
People have done both of those things. They have had that opinion and made it known. But I think that for me, it's it is. I don't think there was a situation where any electric Ferrari would come out and we would like it. I think that the design of this car is tough. And seeing it in person, I don't know it's going to make it better. I've thought a lot of Ferrari designs have been questionable recently, and seeing them in person has made them better. But I don't think, the F80 is a good example. I thought that car was Hain. Then we saw it in person at Car Week, and I actually liked it quite a bit. But I don't, the wheels are tough. The interior is amazing.
So you're taking the David Lee playbook here of I don't want to say anything too polarizing so that I can stay in Ferrari's good graces.
No, it's just I genuinely don't have a really strong feeling about it. When I see a 308, my heart lights on fire and I get really excited. But I haven't felt that way about most modern Ferraris in a really, really, really long time.
That but you unexpected take for sure.
You understand that this one specifically is particularly objectionable.
Of course, I understand that, but to me, it's just like I'm just not bothered. I'm just like, whatever. Like I don't love it. I'm kind of. It makes me sad.
You hear that? He's given up on life. That is the actual. He's so resigned that he can't even muster up the outrage. I have some thoughts for you. Okay. One, Johnny Ive is the biggest overrated hack this planet has ever seen.
No, that is absolutely. I completely disagree with that.
His big innovation here was saying, "Oh, a rectangle with rounded edges. What a genius!" Okay, that guy maybe was qualified to design the screen, although I think he did a terrible job on that too. He turns out a car is a lot harder than a rectangle to design.
Yes,
and he proved. I think he's ruined his personal legacy. I think this company that the design firm that he founded is now just completely over. And I think he's much like when Michael Jordan tried to play baseball, like stick to your lane, retire on a high note. You went from being one of the most revered designers in the world to the person personally responsible for killing the brand Ferrari. So like, I honestly want to switch to an Android just because I am so mad at what he did to Ferrari.
You know,
Kennan, he was a revered designer. He was revered.
Paul revered designer.
Right. It's really great to accept criticism from someone who can't even pronounce revered.
Well, but at least I didn't ruin Ferrari.
I agree with. I think that take is maybe a bit hyperbolic, but I do agree that his personal legacy is tarnished for sure.
Permanently.
And
sure,
I think that
he did give us the first iPhone, which is
so did Steve Jobs and a lot of other people.
Yeah, but Steve did
his design. Okay, like the iPhone design is not actually that impressive if you stop and think about it, and it is proven by the fact that what abomination he rolled out that doesn't even look good by Hyundai standards.
Hyundai.
I don't agree with that. I think you're a little off base. I think the iPhone is a brilliant piece of design. I think it's more complicated than you think to design a piece of consumer technology that everyone has to use that also is beautiful. And I think you can probably, if given the chance, you could probably only come up with a few examples.
Well, I mean, look at our Max.
The TV's also a rectangle. I can think of a lot of good-looking rectangles in my life.
Do you think the TV is beautiful? Like a lot of people think the iPhone is a beautiful piece of equipment. And
I know, and I think we all bought into this marketing hype from Apple, and now that we've sobered up, we realize, it's just a rectangle.
Well, I'll tell you this. By the way, my other view, I think you're a little hyperbolic about how it looks. I think the car looks fine. I really do. I think if this was a Polestar, we would sit here and be like, here's the new Polestar 5. It's what it looks like. These are its specs. We talk about it on our news segment for 3 minutes and move on. I think people are freaking out about how ugly it is. I think that take is a little overblown. I just think it's wrong for Ferrari and disappointing for Ferrari. And this is the beginning of the end of Ferrari being like the brand we all lust.
And going back to Kennan's point, Ferrari is known for sending cease and desist letters because they don't like the wrap you put on your 458, right? So like there was one conspiracy theory from Throttle House. He sort of half threw it out there saying, well, maybe they're doing this to prove to the regulators that they shouldn't have to do EVs. Like Ferrari is too protective of their brand to make this big of an unforced error. Then there's been arguments, maybe it's for the Chinese or maybe it's for the tech overlords that are going to make us all unemployed in a few years. I don't buy any of this. There is no market for this. There is no buyer for this. And the damage they've done to their brand wipes out the enthusiast base. Like it is just, I still struggle to understand like what on earth they were thinking. The Chinese have way better EVs than this. The Chinese, to make a competitive Chinese product, it needs a fly, float, jump. Like it needs to have a real party trick, not just like, it's 1,000 horsepower. Like,
and it's a Ferrari because it's not enough. That's not special.
Yeah, it's not enough. Well, and I think they struggle with the same concept. I think a lot of people make EVs do, and this is why I'm like kind of giving them a little bit of grace with it. Is like, how do you differentiate an EV Ferrari? All the performance of EVs are the same. It's insane. They're very fast, but they're not emotional.
I would start by making it beautiful. I would at the very least start by doing what Ferrari does, even in the era when Ferrari performance was not incredible, even in the era when some of the cars were a little sketch.
3.8 GT4 is what you're thinking.
Beautiful. Make it beautiful. Right. There were some odd looking. There were some not so great overall cars. However, I think generally speaking, they have made it beautiful. And the 3.8 GT4 is a good example. Honestly, that car has never been received well. We're 50 years after that car came out, and it's still the butt of jokes. Same with the Mondial.
Exactly, and that the 3.8 GT4 is the car. To be clear, we all think is pretty cool, and I still want a 3.8 GT4. But when it came out, it was viewed as one of the ugliest Ferraris of all time. In fact, fact, it wasn't called a Ferrari initially. It was badged as a Dino, and then eventually, in order to sell them, that became a Ferrari. And for a while, that was the only Ferrari product you could buy in the United States because the Berlinetta Boxer was a gray market car. You couldn't get that. So I view this car like that maybe this is the gateway to something else, and hopefully they do make something beautiful and things like that. So I don't know. Like, it is unsettling, and my knee-jerk reaction when I saw it for the first time is the same as everybody. That I'm like, I thought it was AI. I thought it was some bad joke. Yeah. Like, I didn't think it was
It's
real.
funny. The 7 stages of grief: shock, which everyone had,
went through;
denial, everyone had.
Maybe that's fine.
I'm still in anger. Then it's bargaining. You're somewhere between depression, and I think that's why you missed last week, and acceptance, which is you've now accepted that it's an abysmal failure. And eventually maybe we all get to processing, but I do think it's the death of a brand.
I feel like I came to acceptance pretty quick. To Kennan's point earlier, Ferrari is not for us. And they're admitting that now. They're not for car enthusiasts. And it's sad because BMW made that transition also during my lifetime. You know, BMW, when I was a kid, was a brand that was only for car enthusiasts or primarily for car enthusiasts. And it made the transition to this SUV brand that's like a brand of luxury goods, which is fine. And they sell a lot of cars. And honestly, their cars are still excellent, but they're not, exciting and fun and cool in the same way. They're still cool, but in a different way. And I think this is Ferrari kind of heading in that direction as well.
Well, I truly believe we lived through one of the golden eras of Ferrari with Luca de Montezemolo at the helm. I truly believe that. Like the 60s,
by the way, did you see Luca also said?
Oh, yeah. I saw Luca's comments. Yeah, bad translated.
He's as fired up as I am.
No, he wasn't. He was very restrained.
In addition to the comments we covered last week, did you see that he also said this is one that the Chinese won't copy?
I did see that. Yes,
that's hilarious.
Which is so Luca de Montezemolo. God, he is the man.
Good stuff.
It is regardless. Like the whole point of this. I know we've focused on the Luce despite having a 360 manual, which of course our producer Sean picked.
With the exposed Phillips head screws, which is my favorite part of this whole picture right here. Yeah. But hopefully they throw us a bone. And like BMW, people don't give them enough credit. They still make some pretty cool cars. The M2 comes in a manual. The M3 or 4, they're still throwing us some bones.
Doug's point is like the base car, like a 3 Series.
No, I agree. I get his point. I'm just saying they're still throwing us a bones occasionally. And I do hope that, sure, if they want to make cars for Sam Altman and Peter Thiel that are $640,000 meh-looking EVs, just keep making a couple for Kennan and I that in 10 years we can afford.
I think they will. I think Ferrari will always have cool cars. But at the same time, whereas BMW does still make a few, they are primarily a luxury SUV brand now, period. Yeah. And it's just not the same. And I think that you're seeing probably the beginning of Ferrari maybe go in that direction. I wonder if when the book is written and we all look back on the whole story, if the IPO was the beginning of the end. I really wonder if we're going to sit back and say, once they finally had to start hitting quarterly targets and sales numbers there was no longer a long-term strategy of this brand that was keep it rare and special and cool, which is what made it how it is, and suddenly became hit this revenue number, hit this sales number. I wonder if when the books are written in 30 years, 40 years, 100 years, we look back on the IPO as the beginning of the end. We got to move on to our next news story, which is...
something.
What is this,
Toyota Corolla, so back to enthusiast land, and a car much better looking than Luce, has a new model coming out. I don't know how you say this, GRMN, but it's basically the Nürburgring edition Corolla GR. So super cool. MN stands for Masters of Nürburgring. I can never say that correctly. It's a bunch of little tweaks. It's not actually a totally ground up redesign, but cool wheels. They changed everything from the suspension dampening, et cetera, to hit a new track record at the Nürburgring for the car. 7 foot-pound more than the 2016 model for torque. It's very, very incremental. But a whopping 66 pounds, which at Porsche would cost you, 18 grand?
Yeah.
Kennan's over here laughing. 7 pound-feet. Kennan, that's the difference between turning a screwdriver like this and turning it like this.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. That is worth marketing for sure.
It's got a dude's signature on the dashboard. I mean, it's a little bit better than a trim package.
The thing not mentioned here is that, like the Morizo edition before, this car does not have a back seat. So while it is the coolest, most exciting, fastest, craziest GR Corolla, it unfortunately does lose that level of practicality that we somewhat expect from a hot hatchback.
But it retains the doors, and That's important. It retains the rear doors.
What they won't give us is that damn Lexus that I found out about that has all that power. What was that thing called?
Oh, yes. I can't.
You know
remember
what? The fact that we've forgotten about it, they're thrilled. They're like, oh, the Americans, now they won't remember. They won't remember that they're getting screwed. GRMN Corolla looks pretty cool. Is this thing's going on sale? It's a 26 model?
Yes, it is, my kind sir. 2016 model. That means we're getting it very, very soon. So if you're in the market for a GR Corolla, now's the time.
Carbon fenders, carbon hood, carbon wing. That's all pretty cool. This is cool.
Yeah, actually, I really love the vented fenders. It's a pretty cool element.
All right, what else you got?
All right. Yeah.
I am. The Fast and the Furious me loves that whole look right there.
I'm into it personally, but it's. Yeah.
I would get the basey base, then special order the fenders and like kind of make a tribute car so I could keep the rear.
You get the Temu knockoff fenders.
Yeah, that's true. Temu knockoff.
Put HREs on it, which we'll come back to. All right.
Doug doesn't know about that. Buying glasses used to be one of the most annoying experiences on the planet. You walk into some store and the styles all look like they were designed by the guy who did the Ferrari Luce. On top of that, the price tag that comes along with it is even more absurd than the Ferrari Luce, and you just want to vomit. That's why I'm honestly obsessed with Warby Parker. Nothing comes closer on quality, price, and selection. Once you buy from them, you realize how much easier you've made the whole thing. It's no Ferrari Luce, but instead, the E55 W211 of the world. Better than an E39 M5, better than anything else out there. You just put them on and enjoy and know you are experiencing true value. Best of all, they have a virtual try-on, which is a total game changer. You point your phone camera at your face and you can see the frames on you in real time. I've tried other virtual try-ons before and they're pretty meh. Warby's actually works. You can genuinely tell how a pair is going to look and fit before you ever click to buy. And the price? The price is fantastic. Prescription glasses start at 95 bones. You used to have to choose between flimsy, outdated frames or spending half a paycheck. Warby Parker just fixed that. Plus, it's not only prescription glasses. They do contacts, online eye exams, sunglasses, all in one place. Right now, buy one prescription pair and get 20% off any additional prescription pairs at warbyparker.com/cars. That's 20% off additional prescription pairs when you go to warbyparker.com/cars.
This is the best news story of the whole week. Ferrari, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Ferrari's over there doing dumb crap and ruining everything, and Chrysler is over here being like, we're back. We're back.
They're sticking to what they know and what they're good at, which is big motors in trucks. 777 horsepower, 680 foot-pound of torque. That's way more than a 6 bump over the stock model. 3.4 0 to 60 four-door pickup truck. So the SRT10 Ram is... Go ahead.
Although the cool thing about this truck, so this is the return of the Ram Rumblebee, which is a truck that Nick has loved. He's a big fan of it at his political events, let's just say. They're bringing the Rumblebee back. It's kind of an interesting thing because every Ram since the last Rumblebee, which was probably 18 years ago, has been, every sporty Ram has been off-road focused, the TRX and such. You had the SRT10 and the Rumblebee in that era, and then the TRX, the RHO. We're back to a street truck. Now, the cool thing is, yes, there is a 777 horsepower Hellcat version, but there are also lesser powerful versions if you just want sort of this cool, like, Rumblebee look, the lowered truck kind of situation. And that's awesome. But, Nick, as an SRT10 man, you must be thrilled. This is essentially the return of the SRT10 because it's a street-focused performance truck like that was.
They just can't call it the SRT10 since... it doesn't have a 10-cylinder. They can't call it a Viper truck. The Rumblebee, I thought, was actually kind of like a overhyped trim package, but
it was
regardless, they needed a cool, nostalgic name. This thing has track mode. To your point, it's got a wide body kit. I mean, it is... I'm so pumped on this. Yes, I love the off-road trucks as much as the next guy, but I'm a street truck man.
It's crazy.
I love the wheels, the lowered stance, the vented hood again. It's awesome.
It's crazy. To me, it's kind of surprising that anybody's going after the street truck market. The off-roading segment has been so popular and so successful over the last few years with the Raptor and the TRX and others. But here we are. We're doing
it. But why not? Like, while you're in there over a couple of cold ones, like raising it, lowering it, you might as well do all the configurations because people are still lowering their trucks. I mean, it's not like that scene disappeared. Street trucks are no longer as popular as they were when Kennan and I were young boys in Ohio, but they're still pretty popular.
It's
so
also
might as
cool.
well.
You got to agree. It's also super cool that like the SVT Lightning, which was a high performance street truck, became a electric Ford.
Yeah.
You know, here's Ram going, we're still going to do this in this era when we've all going electric. When the Silverado EV is here, when Hummer's an electric brand now, when Ferrari's releasing that trash, that utter trash. Now we're back. Like someone is still in this era. We thought it was all kind of coming to an end, and here we are. It's pretty cool.
I'm really into. I love that America has been like the bastion of these like crazy enthusiast gasoline powered things and manual transmissions. To be honest, like I'm in
And
like
sound.
Western and sound and like emotion and fun.
Yeah.
I think that is so. I think that is so admirable and cool, and it makes me like really proud, like giddy about this.
Well, and the other thing is, okay, so all the off-road editions, they still handle terrible. They're not actually that fast because they have these giant wheels to move through. 3.4 0 to 60, at least where I come from, that's real.
booking.
That is
That's
like
what they're
actually
saying
a
for
fast car.
for the Hellcat version.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
crazy. That's what the Enzo was 3.5
Right.
60.
I mean,
also
that'll
just
toast
love-
most of my cars.
I love that the engine lineup is a 5.7 liter V8, 400 horse, 6.4 liter V8 with 470, or the supercharged Hellcat. There's no straight six, which by the way, the straight six is a great motor, but honestly, it's better than that base Hemi. But they know that that's not going to do it, right? They're just like, we're only going to do V8s. I mean, it feels like 10 years ago. It feels like 12, 15 years ago. Again,
It does. And I realize these are probably the last gasps of doing this, but like, hell yeah, brother, do it. Like, I'm
Hell
here
yeah,
for it.
brother. Nick knows what we're talking about. He goes on his little political
Rallies there.
events.
Anyway, I do hope Ford and Chevy follow suit and we can get a real Lightning again, and maybe
They
we
won't.
can get
The best
a
you're
C8 motor
going
and
to
a
get.
Well,
pickup.
The best you're going to get from Ford is that Maverick Lobo. Have you seen one of those on the street?
I'm
yet?
into those, dude. Have I seen them? I've seen them. I'm into them, man. I've had some conversations with the dealer. We're very in touch here.
conversation with the dealer. Oh my God.
Oh Lord! All right, move on to our next news story, please.
Those conversations are just me Facebook messaging them. Still available. Still available.
At a dealer. Facebook messaging a dealer.
Hummer
Okay, we got
Concept
this Hummer.
X. The H3 truck is back. The question nobody asked and no one wanted the answer to. They debuted a concept of it. It is wild how much AI they used in announcing this, including the team rallied around the mantra of take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints. That's not just a tagline. It's the design brief. And included the M dashes and everything. I mean, just like painful.
These
Okay, so
people can't-
what on earth does this have to do with take no pictures, take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints?
Well, 'cause it's a-
giant
because
heavy
it's
EV. Give me a
No,
break.
but it's an electric off-roader. So the point is, it's not polluting. It's not dumping oil in the.
Tell that to the children in Africa mining the lithium.
Okay. I actually, you say that, by the way, you say that the answer to the question that no one asked. I actually would argue that this is more appealing than the existing Hummer EV. If this is smaller and more affordable, the existing Hummer EV is tremendously expensive still. I mean, I presume this is going to be like a size step below, basically. I wouldn't want to call it mid-size, but Gladiator, somewhere between a Gladiator and a full-size Hummer EV, which is kind of appealing to some people, for sure.
Manageable is the word you're looking for. In terms
Well,
of
it looks big in that picture, I'll tell you. But Rivians are in this size segment, more or less. I feel like this is a bit bigger than that. But it's as opposed to the full size, I think GM kind of put themselves into a bit of a corner by coming out with the Silverado EV and the Sierra EV and the Hummer EV and making them so big that they really were bigger than all of their rivals. And it only attracted a very specific buyer who had the space and desire for that. And I think there's something to be said for a smaller truck in this segment.
Well, I think much like their press release, they can use AI to revise anything you don't like about this vehicle. So send them feedback. It was designed in Pasadena in a unmarked campus. So another Skunkworks project. Again, I'm getting so cynical here about the use of AI and car design. Maybe that's where the Luce went wrong. But
no, that design was intentional.
Yeah, it's so bad even AI couldn't do it.
That's
By the way,
right.
this to be clear, this is a concept, like you said, it's not guaranteed for production. You have to assume, though, that if they do plan to continue using the Hummer name, which they revived for the full-size pickup, you have to assume that they're probably going to go in this sort of direction. We have a picture up of the pickup truck, but they also released an SUV, kind of an open-top SUV, which to me, a connoisseur of open-top SUVs, actually look pretty cool, if I'm honest. It looked a little dune buggy.
It was designed under the banner, the courage to get lost. It gets worse and worse the more you read. It's a good thing the youth these days don't read a lot, because it's going to be terrible for readers.
The youth these days, Kennan. The youth these days.
It's
Nick,
unbelievable.
you don't think the SUV version looks kind of cool? Have you seen that?
No, I think mostly because I don't like the current Hummer lineup. It's just seeing like a shrunk down version of it doesn't appeal to me at all. But I feel like the Hummer, they had their moment, much like the H2 back then. Like, this is the H3 to me. Like, it's over. If anything, as we joked, it's a sign of an upcoming recession.
That's right.
That Hummer is out there iterating their product line. Like, it's a one-trick pony. It's okay to be a one-trick pony. We all love the H1. Let's just let it die a graceful death. Again, the Michael Jordan baseball analogy. Like, this is just, it's getting sad. Now we're Charles Barkley selling GLP-1s. Like,
I don't feel quite as strongly. I'm still waiting for an electric convertible SUV. I am willing to be a little bit more wait and see on this one. I think they might. Yeah. I think if they do this and it looks like the SUV, I think it could be cool at the right price point. I think it could be cool. There's not enough fun in the EV market, if I'm honest. You know, there's a lot of BS EVs that are just luxury cars that are kind of boring. They're fast in a straight line, but they're all kind of appliances. And I'm always supportive of anybody who wants to come out with something that's not.
Yeah, I agree.
Give us our next one, Nick. What do we got?
The Viper. This was.
Didn't you buy a Viper?
I have not bought a Viper. I knew you were going to say that. I have not yet bought a Viper. But there was some news recently that the head of SRT went on a podcast, and he said specifically that the Viper will not make a return, which is something I actually agree with, and I'm happy about. And I'll tell you why. All Vipers are big, naturally aspirated 10-cylinder cars with manual transmissions. They didn't change the recipe. It got more sophisticated, it got better, but it didn't change from the first gen, which, damn, God, looks so cool.
I know. You got to do it.
Which I like.
Yeah, but Kennan, there was a time
if they were going to bring we talked about this before. You said, if they bring it back with a V8. No, the Viper's never had a V8. It shouldn't have a V8.
Yeah, but Kennan, there was a time when the 911 was an air-cooled, small rear engine.
The 911 never went to a V8 or a four-cylinder. They called it the,
in the current Porsche 911, the owner of the vehicle cannot access the engine. Okay?
Well,
that's true.
Well, yeah, the Viper customer and a Porsche customer, two very different brands of people.
But my point is that wasn't always the case. In the 60s and 70s, a Porsche owner was a tinkerer, and it was a air-cooled enthusiast of a little car, and that car is now things can change. Cars can change. Like I would be down for a Viper to return.
The Viper. I like that the Viper has not returned because I just love that it was an unbroken line of stubbornness.
Doug, you getting this? So he's not a purist over Ferrari anymore. They can make 640K
He's
EVs.
A Viper purist.
But the Viper is where he draws the line. We have to protect the Viper.
Well, as a proud American, yeah. I feel that we do.
You know what? They're bringing the Rumblebee back, as we discovered. So I guess they, much like the SRT10, the Viper truck, they won't bring back the Viper nameplate, but they are basically bringing back everything else about the Viper.
Well, there is something they are talking about. So there's something that's been kind of nicknamed the Copperhead. Now, this isn't going to be a Viper, but it's going to be some like ultra muscle car. I'm guessing kind of to go to like toe-to-toe with like the Mustang GTD and stuff like that. Yeah. I have a feeling. I don't know what it is.
Copperhead's a snake. It's also a concept car that we all loved back in the day at the Scholastic Book Fairs. Like, it's pretty cool. So again, they're bringing the nostalgia back with just like a nameplate one step below the one that you want to see. But
I would love a Viper to come back with a V10 and a manual.
I would like a Viper to come back down the car elevator, parked right behind me, that belongs to you.
I'll make that happen. Don't you worry. I'm on it. Don't worry. It's gonna happen. But yeah. Nonetheless, I thought it was interesting. I mean, of course, we know the 5th gen Viper got killed off for safety reasons because you couldn't mount an airbag where it needed to be. And that was the main reason it got killed off. Well, actually, it wasn't to do with emissions and things like that. And it was the 5th gen.
I think whatever Chrysler tells you, the 5th gen Viper got killed off because no one was buying it.
Well, yeah, which also tells you what you need. Like, I don't know that people would buy another Viper.
I know, but give it a nice twin turbo 6-cylinder. Put in a ZF torque converter automatic.
No.
Destroy the heritage. That's what they're all doing these days. That's what everybody's doing. Do it.
See, Ferrari already did it, so I'm less like there's nothing I can do at this point. But the Viper, that's a concept. It doesn't exist yet. So
Let's make the next gen BMW M5 go electric.
well, that's probably going to happen realistically. That's the which
Might as well already have.
But a potential copperhead is coming, which allows them to create a sports car without losing the tradition of the Viper.
Yeah, which I'm here for. I think that it's an interesting idea and a concept, and we'll see how that ferments over time.
Dodge is killing it. They're at the top of the game. The comeback story no one expected. Dodge of Stellantis killing it.
Yeah, still wouldn't buy one. All right, what else we got?
Other than that,
I would buy one of those 3 spokes and all. God, that is a cool looking car.
It is.
I'll make it happen. Don't worry. I will make it happen.
have you ever Googled yourself and seen a bunch of horrible, horrendous, unsightly, ungodly, blasphemous results? Well, if you're Ferrari and you're talking about the Luce, I'm sorry, you're out of luck. That's permanent. But for everyone else, good news, there's Delete Me. Delete Me can help you remove your phone number, address, and just about anything else out there. And honestly, being on a podcast and being more visible online, it's something I think about more and more. That's why I've been using Delete Me. The more you put yourself out there, the more personal information ends up floating around on sites you've never heard of. Delete Me goes in and removes your info from those data broker sites, companies that collect and sell your personal data to basically anyone, including scammers. It runs in the background and just handles it, so you don't have to stress about it, and you can spend your days worrying about Ferrari and the Luce instead. Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. Right now, listeners can get 20% off their plan at joindeleteme.com/DeMuro. Use promo code DeMuro at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/DeMuro, code DeMuro.
And that's
Is
the
there more
end of the news.
That's the end. What a shame. The end of the news. We have to get into the Talk Cars segment. There's a lot of cars talk to be talked. Are you guys ready to discuss cars?
I'm buckled in, Doug.
It
Let's
depends on
go ahead.
who's sponsoring the segment.
I'm looking at the. I'll tell you who's sponsoring the segment is the fight that's about to break out between Nick and Kennan. I'm looking at our pod document here, and I see that Nick has written E55 greater than E39. All right, go ahead, Nick. Tell us why you think you're Teutonic.
Let's hear your uneducated opinion.
I do want to hear about your automotive woes here. Having never driven an E39 M5,
Right, there it is. We'll start there. Having never driven.
confident that the E55 is God's chariot. Right? It comes with a manual after it makes a pit stop in Atlanta.
Yep.
500 horsepower with a pulley and a tune, maybe a little bit more.
Yep.
And it came as a station wagon then in the U.S. I rest my case.
Yeah, the E39 M5 did not come as a station wagon anywhere, actually. So
That's true.
that
Except for
is
the one concept they built. That's true. They thought they couldn't.
that is
sell
a
it.
slight benefit in the E55's world. I will tell you, Nick, your generation of E55 is a pretty appealing car and possibly better than the E39 M5. However, they didn't compete. The E39 M5 was more or less gone when your E55 came out. They're separated by a generation.
I'm sitting around here driving a supercharged station wagon V8. I'm thinking of my naturally aspirated sedan only.
Right, but
friend,
to his point, if
I
you
feel
want to
bad
compare
for him.
two cars, like, okay, well then BMW responded with the E60 M5 with an
Right.
NAV10 and a 6-speed from the factory.
Yes, and then there was a little problematic, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they didn't have to mod it with some guys in Georgia. Like that's not like.
Hey man,
No, instead you had to take it to a guy in North Dakota in order to bulletproof it. Or where is he? South Dakota? The guy who does all the S85s?
Oh, no, he said in the Carolinas. But yes, or take it to Ryan for service. Honestly,
trash talking aside, I think what I'm realizing.
I just don't. Why have you come to? What makes you say this?
I think you were right about that era of super sports sedan is the era. They're so wonderful for the money.
Yeah,
like having
RS6, E39 M5, E55 AMG, all three.
It was just like such a special era, and I've sort of built mine to be how I want it to be. But like that, I can see why you're so emotionally invested in the E39 and have all this YouTube content about E39s, and I've become so obsessed because having had my E55 for a couple months now, I'm there too. I'm just like, these cars are perfect. It's the right blend of analog and modern. It's daily drivable.
He says that he's obsessed. Do we want to put a timer on this to see by the end of summer if he's
obsessed with this, just like he was obsessed with his Quattroporte when he got it and all the other stuff.
And the Arnage and then the P38.
I just had the E55 fully detailed, paint corrected. All I have left is upholstery, but like the car is now perfect, and I think I'm getting to your level next, where like fender liners. Like I'm going to do dry ice blasting of the e-brake handle, whatever crazy stuff you do.
It's a 200,000-mile car, and when I drove it, it was given suspension faults. Don't put money into this car.
Well,
Stop
it was
putting
only because Sean was sitting in the back, and Sean is a larger gentleman.
Oh, Nick.
We love him dearly. Sean at carsandbids.com.
God,
SEAN.
Nick, I
your
honestly,
car is because it's a beat 200,000-mile wagon. It didn't have anything to do with it, Sean. You could put a piece of a bunch of paper back.
You know what? I think the confusion stems from my car is air ride because it has a superior ride quality, and you're used to more of a static. I'm guessing just like a McPherson strut, like old school combo. You know?
That is correct. It is.
Us modern enthusiasts here, we get air ride.
Right. Yes. ABC, the great reliable system that people love.
Kennan, you're mocking him. You don't understand. You don't.
Right,
You'll simply
I
not
don't.
understand the relationship that you have with your car. He has that over 15 years. He has developed with his car over 15 minutes. He has the same relationship that you do.
I do.
He's
Yes,
gonna
he
get
looks-
fender liners done, Kennan. He's gonna do the fender liners.
My binder's a little skinnier, but I think that's just a reliability difference.
I get this a lot. It's like reliability means you can rely upon the car to get somewhere. My M5 is like I'm obsessive about making it perfect. There's a big difference between the two. Like if the car, I could have not done a lot of the service I've done. The car would have run and functioned as transportation reliably, but I wanted perfection, so that's what I've strived for. There's a big difference there. And
I am glad
yeah, I
you're
agree
happy.
with the 15 minutes versus 15 years thing, though. That is a wild.
I am
I'm
glad
a
you're
loyal
happy
man.
I am glad you're happy with the car, Nick. I think it's an
I am
excellent
too.
car. I am reminded again that the mid 2000s were the golden era of the
They
auto.
really were.
But I'll tell you this: if you could still consider to say that it's better, you do need to drive an E39 M5. Mine's the one to drive, so at some point you have to brave up and hand you the keys to the most precious object in my life.
Well,
Do you
likewise.
want Nick to have that experience and then tell you what he honestly thinks? Are you sure you want that?
I mean,
remember
I don't care.
also.
Like,
Also, remember, he money shifted a TTRS. Blew him
oh,
up.
that's a good point. Maybe I should. Maybe he still needs to master driving a manual. That's true.
I'm
He's
getting
not
pretty
even
good.
denying that anymore, which is interesting. to me.
It never
Uh,
money shifted. Well,
Speaking of E39 M5s, Kennan, you want to talk about yours that's up?
Yes, not mine's like in terms of my actual car, but I do have an M5 that is live right now on the cars and the bids there. So this one belongs to, I'm representing this car on behalf of the owner. So this car has 45,000 miles on it. So recently I got to drive this car compared to mine. The thing I've realized is like, you made a point a couple weeks ago that maybe I should have sold mine and gotten a lower mileage one.
I was making that point about the Ford GT. I do think that it's hard to really realize how much has worn as you can drive the car over time until you drive a really nice one and then you're like, oh, this feels totally different. Like these things sort of happened over time and I didn't really notice them. And I've been on top of replacing wear items, but even then stuff gets squidgy and it's just not quite the same.
That was the thing that shocked me is the platform when refreshed like mine, they drive this very much the same, but the big difference, which is like very impressive after 200 and almost approaching 260,000 miles, over 5 times the mileage of this car. But the thing that blew me away, the real thing that blew me away was the quality of like the interior and like how nice.
Yeah.
It's just everything. That's the thing that was different between my car and this. Is like mine just has wear over all those years, and this thing is so damn fresh. Look at that. I mean, it was like. I just like couldn't get over how like nice and soft everything was, and like the leather looked like never like that. That was the big thing I realized. It's like, and I know maybe that's very obvious. Like a lot of people give low mileage cars a lot of guff. The difference with this one is it was serviced basically every single year religiously since 2000, and it has every piece of service documentation back to like the original sales slip with like the guy's beeper number on it. Like I geeked out very hard on this car, but it was like.
It's for sale on Cars and Bids, and it looks beautiful, and it's a very special car, as is every really good E39 M5.
Thank you.
And every really good 211 E55 AMG, Nick.
There you go.
Yep.
What about you, Doug? Any car problems over there in the island one weekend?
Yeah, it's time to move on from the G-Wagon. I think we're all kind of in agreement about that.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the end. Nick, you want to say your goodbyes?
You want to? I can make you a good deal on an L405 cab.
I have no interest in that car.
One, you were the person that talked me into buying it, and two, It does, as someone, you drove it, and I believe, and I quote mostly from memory here, it's so much more comfortable than the G and so much better than the G at everything it does. And I'll sell it to you for the same money you get out of the G cab.
The L405 cab is wonderful, but you know, my wife and I, we live in the East Coast in the summer, and I think I need a car that I'm going to leave here. It's just gotten cumbersome to get the G all the way out here and then to deal with its myriad problems. This is the third year the G's been here, and it's the third year that it has stranded me. And it's just not how I want to be spending my time. It has not stranded me. What happened is the ABS system has malfunctioned, which is not a big deal, except that the car must derive wheel speed from the ABS somehow. And so the speedometer doesn't function. And because the speedometer doesn't function, the transmission won't shift out a second because it doesn't know how fast the car is going. And I Googled this, and there's actually people who've had this problem, and I could just start throwing random parts at it. I've ordered some very expensive Mercedes-Benz scan tool, but mostly, I mean, the car runs and drives just slowly. Mostly I just am tired of it. I've got other priorities now, and I definitely do not want to continue dealing with this thing.
So much like your Jalopnik days, let's throw out a couple cars and have the listeners vote. What should be the next Doug car?
It'll be either a Jeep Wrangler or a Ford Bronco, leased from the dealership. Hopefully a model year old. As cheap as possible.
You know, I have to give it to you. Like, you've done the hard thing for a long time, specifically with the Defender, getting the Defender there, and that stranded you also, and all those things.
This is the 11th summer we've been here. We've had car trouble almost every summer, which is unbelievable because it's only 90 days. You know, my 200 series Land Cruiser stranded me on 2 occasions here. My G-Wagon has now been 3. My yellow Defender broke down twice. My silver Range Rover broke down once. Even the Sequoia, last year coming home, I had a flat tire, but that was in Tennessee. It was a little easier to figure out. And it's not really the car's fault. I don't want to have car problems anymore. We got a lot of kids now, and it's just not worth it. So I want to get something with a locker and all terrains, and that's all that's all I care. And a low lease price. That's all I care about.
Can I posit to you another concept?
Yeah. By the way, I might actually do this in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
We'll call up General Motors. Wow. I need you to muster the courage to get lost. Take nothing but pictures. And that Hummer EV SUV thing that they showed with the open roof, I would be interested in that. I would love a Toyota. If Toyota would give me a 4Runner with an open top, I would absolutely get that. That would, no question about it, I would buy that car. We've been using our Sequoia. I've been making fun of our Sequoia on this podcast for a year. We got our Sequoia here now, and the kids are now into off-roading. And so we just had a tantrum because I wouldn't take the bumpy roads home from lunch because we didn't have time. And the car is covered in mud. I mean, covered in mud right now. And we have 4 children, 3 adults, 4 children under 5, 3 adults. The dog, we're taking on the beach. We're going through the mud. The Sequoia is perfect. It is absolutely perfect for what I have. I love it, and I wish there was a Toyota Jeep Wrangler. And the 4Runner is that in theory, but not. I actually will use the open top every day. And I wish there was a Toyota. And I think the styling lends it well for all the rallies that you go to and all the, causes that you support.
Of the Sequoia, you mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just fits your vibe well, I think.
Is it the only one out there? It must be the only one. Really? There are more than...
Any off-road SUV you can imagine people are driving in an off-road climate. And the Sequoias especially, I mean, in New England is still a place where people have sort of bigger Catholic families, use this sort of vibe of, big family kind of thing. And so there's a lot of Suburbans, which I don't see much of in California anymore. And there's a lot of Yukon XLs, and there's a lot of that stuff. And so there's a lot of big stuff. And yeah, Sequoia, saw a Solar Octane just today.
Wow.
But I think the G, even before it broke, I drove it a little bit here, and I'm thinking, it's old, and it's a flex, but it's like I'm done. I'm done flexing. My flexing days are over.
Right. But meanwhile, you have the Countach for out here to flex with. When you go to East Egg, you don't flex as much. West Egg, you can flex all year.
You're letting them off too easy.
I enjoy that car from a pure enjoyment perspective. Yeah. I find it interesting.
This is a guy. Okay, he had the Defender. He had a Defender 90 in Nantucket. Couldn't handle it. Sold it to get a Mercedes, so it'd be nicer. Can't handle that. Couldn't even handle a Land Cruiser, and now he's looking to lease a Bronco, and you're just like, oh, that makes sense. No, dude, come on. He's Doug DeMuro, chief car officer of Cars and Bids, and he's gonna lease a Bronco for $199 a month and hope that he gets Sirius XM on the island.
He has
First
a Grand
off,
GT, a Ford GT to Countach.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and my mom has a duvet cover that doesn't make her a betting expert. I don't know. I wasn't sure where I was going.
I don't know where
either.
the hell you were trying to go with that. Of course, our producer
I got
Sean is
9
nodding
cars now.
feverishly
Yeah.
at this
I
argument.
got 9 cars now, Nick, and we got another child coming. I haven't announced that on this podcast yet, but I got another child.
Wow.
This will be number 3.
Congratulations.
Yeah. What a shock. I know. Unbelievable
Stunned,
surprise. Yeah. And it's there's just not, when you're I have this thing, and I tell this a lot to people who are in their 20s, is that they need a headache. Like in your life at that age, you need a headache. Like you need something that like causes trouble, that like helps you figure out how to work on cars, figure out how to buy and sell cars, figure out how to solve problems on the go. And I had those cars, a lot of them at that age. And I have a different headache now. And so I don't need that anymore. It's over. I've been doing it. We've been out here with unusual special cars for more than 10 years, and it's just time to focus on other stuff. I hate to say it. I've got a bunch of amazing cars back home, and I will say one thing that has pushed me more towards this direction is how much the kids have embraced sports cars at the house. Back in California, they really love driving in the 993 and in other future 4-seat cars. That's awesome. The fact that they're already getting into those kind of suggests to me that this will be an okay transition.
The tragedy is your space constraint, because in my opinion, the optimal solution is to have one unreliable car and then one reliable car, which you kind of have, but like the more you can add, the more you can rely on one being a headache and just be like my P38, I took it camping with the kids the other week. It spewed coolant everywhere. I flagged down a Good Samaritan. He gave me like a giant jug of water. I dumped it in there, limped it to the Walmart 20 minutes away, and then tried to use like the flex tape to put it back together. And like then my wife's in it and smoke starts coming out the air vents and she just jumps out, gets the kids and starts walking. And I'm like, oh, okay. But it was part adventure, but also part like, are we going to make it home? It's a 2-hour drive. And I had to like lose a whole day of the vacation, like going from Pep Boys to AutoZone to O'Reilly's, trying to find the right size coolant pipe to fix this in a parking lot. So I get your argument, but it's nice to have some level of headache in there. And
when I'm in California, I don't mind that stuff. I mean, my Countach broke down a couple times. Yeah. I've had other stuff, and it can be kind of fun if there's a shop. I don't have a shop here. There's not a shop here. There's not a Mercedes-Benz diagnostic tool on our island, and there's no real way to get a car onto the island. So if I get it off to get it diagnosed, I can't have it back. And it's as a result of that, it's just not how I want to be spending my time. I spent 3 hours yesterday pulling and testing every fuse, but putting the hood in the service position, which in my car you have to undo the thing, and opening up a cover and looking at all the connections of the soldering, and it's like this isn't how the soldering. This isn't how I want to spend my time. It's just not anymore. So
it's a revert car repair process.
Nick,
I think it's great. You and Sean are both admitting defeat at the same time.
Yeah.
Both G-Wagons.
G-Wagons killed them both.
They will be on the site soon with no reserve.
2 things. If I was in California, if it's only about California, I would keep it. Number 2, I have driven my car 25,000 miles, which in a 25-year-old flappy top, 12 mile per gallon vehicle, a short wheelbase vehicle, that's pretty legit.
I wish you could. Sean is making a variety of hand gestures.
Sean's faces have never been more disgusted in his life.
It's time, Sean. We're getting a Jeep. We're going to go and get
what Sean should get to. He can't decide on what to get as the next daily. Maybe you guys should just head over to Stellantis. Group buy.
Yeah, I know. I just got done saying I would never buy a Chrysler. I just got done saying I would never buy a Chrysler, and I am actively probably going to buy one in this month.
Right. Well, you're going to end up with that. Sean will end up with a Jeep. I'll get a Viper.
I'll get a Rumblebee.
Boom.
Yeah.
We've switched from Mercedes to Stellantis.
Rumblebee.
We got a bunch of cool new cars coming. I still got multiple Mercedes. Me and Hoovie are never going to not have multiple Mercedes, okay?
Hoovie's episode was so good. Should that transition us actually to the market report? Because
Yeah, sure.
killed it on your site.
Next up, we got to move on to the market report. And the big thing to talk about this week, not just as a Cars and Bids evangelist, which I now am, but just as a human being, is the cars that we sold at Velocity, which was the sales were unbelievable. Look, just start with the Skyline, which was kind of my favorite of the cars.
Interesting. That was your favorite.
Yeah. Well, the TZ was my favorite, like to drive and use, but like this car, a midnight purple stock R34. I just I can't even tell you how many times I just clicked on this listing just to look at it. We sold that car for $375,000, very market correct, unbelievable car. Just so cool to see that car sell. So cool to see the Alpha TZ sell, which we did sell post-auction. So cool to see all of those cars, honestly. And in some of them, that beautiful Ferrari 550 sold and sold for good money. Some of the cars, I really didn't... I was very curious if they would find a buyer, if I want to put it charitably, and they did. Not because they were bad, but just because they were very special, kind of very niche cars, and they did. And it was quite a sale, quite an unbelievable Saturday watching all of those results come in.
I was bummed I couldn't be there because again I caught Ferrari Luce, but I was very proud of my car that was there, the Huracan Performante, which yet again I want to emphasize, this guy had the guts to go no reserve. And did it with great pictures and stuff like that. And it brought a very strong result, especially compared to another one we sold recently. So like, they don't come up for so often. So, but nonetheless, like I really sincerely wish I could have been there at the event to watch all the cars close. My understanding was like lots and lots of people came up and said hello. And like, there was a lot of action, which was really cool. And I hope Cars and Bids gets to do another event like this, because I've been begging to do an in-person event for years, because I think it is just the coolest. So.
The Huracan Performante sale that you had was a huge sale result because the car was so beautifully presented and so wonderfully done by you. The video that you did and all that stuff. And the photos are great. And like you said, no reserve. It was a great presentation of a car that needed no excuses. The 430 Scoot result is one to talk about.
Let's talk about that for a second.
There has Cars and Bids has kind of created a market here for this car, or set a market value at least for this car. That there had not been a public sale of a 430 Scoot in almost a year. And except for the one at Mecum with the Bachmann collection, where they were all crazy colors, and that one sold for like $1 million, but it was also a car with 2 miles, and it was part of an auction where everything went for crazy money. So it wasn't really part of a market, I would say. And so there was a lot of question as to what is a 430 Scoot worth, and we didn't know when we rolled the dice on this auction. We were curious. There just hadn't been a result since a lot of cars kind of went up in value over the last year, 6 months. And the $653,000 sale surprised us. I was offered that car not too many moons ago for less money, and probably should have done it.
Let's be clear. We all should have bought 430 Scooteritas, as it turns out.
I almost bought a Scoot instead of my SLR, and I was Facebook message lowballing one actually in NorCal, and they wanted like $300 for it, and it was also black. And I thought, I don't really want black. I guess that's an okay deal though. Like, holy moly.
Yeah, and this one had some miles on it, 16,000 miles on it too. Like, this was like a great litmus test for and a temperature check of the entire market for the 430.
You do totally.
Yeah, it's definitely not a top of the market example.
Like, this is like
totally. I think this was the perfect car to sell, because it was a no stories car, but it was also not a 0 mile. Oh, who knows what other ones are worth. This was a pretty middle of the road 430 Scoot, and it sold for what I think is pretty big money for one of these. But I think this kind of goes to show what the market is doing and how the market thinks these cars are valued now. Probably coming off of Luce was beneficial, is my guess. I have a feeling there's people out there who are saying this brand is ruining itself. Let's go after what we still can afford. And that probably helped us.
Maybe.
It's funny, the 430 Scoot, I've always loved them. And I think in our group, I was like, I'd love to see one around someday. And someone was like, there's one at Cars and Coffee all the time. You just walk right by it because it looks so similar to the normal 430, and so many people mod their 430s to look like one that you do see them actually. I mean, it's obviously privileged SoCal point of view, whatever, but like they're very subtle. Even in the office, like I loved how raw and aggressive it looked, but also like
I
looks
do
like a
think that's
430.
the drawback of the car, and I think that's the one thing that stopped me from ever seriously pursuing one. It's a version of a car. I'm not a big version guy. I like to buy a car that is special, like the whole car, like a Countach. Doesn't matter which one, the whole thing is special. The 430 Scoot, yeah, to your point, they look like 430s. Like it's an explanation is required. You know,
Nick once said this about my SL65. He's like, I don't buy versions of cars. I buy the SLR, the special car. And here
Well, you
he
were
is.
big dogging me on everything else. That was the only thing left to defend my decision. All right.
Anyway, those were all amazing results. Kennan, I'm sure the seller of that Lamborghini was thrilled.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, that was a really strong number. We had our targets that we were aiming for, even with it being no reserve. But it really came together, and it just again underscores I mean, I saw the car in person, so I knew how nice it was. Like Alcantara looked like it had never been touched, and the guy is fanatical about detailing. He has a couple other Lamborghinis as well, and they're all the same level of clean. It's just unbelievable. But nonetheless, I wanted to, because we're coming up on almost 6 years of Cars and Bids now. And Doug, I think when we were sitting there in the early days, hoping to get some cars, my vision for where Cars and Bids could go is sell cars like these, but to have a group like this in one place to sell, that's a milestone thing. And I just totally have to give credit to the team and I really working hard to put everything together to make this happen, to get the cars there. Then the actual team members who showed up to make sure everything ran smoothly, and all the auction writers, and all the work that everybody's done. This is such a banner moment for the company.
I think that
I'm very proud.
I think that's totally true. I think it really is a proof of concept of what Cars and Bids is and can do. There's always been this kind of perception, Cars and Bids, is it as good as some of the other places? There's an auction site out there that sells primarily dealer to dealer these days, and I really think that Cars and Bids has proven this is proof of what we all already knew. The audience is there, the cars are special, we can sell them, and we can get not only market correct values but set real numbers. And Cars and Bids continues to prove that. I'm so proud. I know this is a Cars and Bids podcast. We don't often do stupid, over the top, gushy advertising for our own company, but I'm very proud of this company.
No, but it's especially as people who built it. I mean, all the people you can't see behind the scenes who have built this thing. I mean, real car enthusiasts that have been here for a very long time, and to have seen this thing come from zero to where it is now in 6 years is very admirable and impressive. And I'm proud to be a small part of that chapter. So it's really cool.
So Velocity was super cool. Also, the pictures were insane, F1s and T50s, and I had so much FOMO as someone who was not there, maybe
you
not
going
even
next
invited.
Year?
It falls on my daughter's birthday, so I don't think I'll ever be able to go if it keeps falling on that same weekend. Instead, we had a lovely experience at a petting zoo and watched a bunny rabbit poop. But
what'd you pet, dude? What'd you pet?
A mini horse, a turtle, a bunny.
Can I ask you a question?
I know what he's going to say, but go ahead.
If they do mini horses, why not do a mini rhino when we domesticate it? Wouldn't you love to have a rhino in your place?
I'm going to take it back.
I would like a RHO in my place.
Okay, well, I want to talk about Hoovie's cars.
Yeah.
Hoovie sold his cars. Are you upset about this, Nick, at all?
I am, because he offered me his Maybach 62 when we were
filming
our Eurocar adventure.
Yeah.
And he offered it for $36,969. And I was like, I should take it. I think it's worth well more than that. Just financially alone, I should take it. But I had just been destroyed by that Arnage, and I couldn't fathom the idea of another early 2000s luxury car. But he got $53,200 for it, which I don't even think that was a crazy result. It's definitely a strong result. But the fact that I knew I could have lowballed him from $36,969, probably gotten him down to $34,000, $33,000. Man, I lost some money that day.
Yeah. No, I mean, 20 G's sitting on the table. That could have been 20 G's. You could have bought, for 20 G's, you know how many P38s you could buy?
Well, he also sold one of those. No, I beg to differ. He sold one for $10,000 that he bought at Barrett Jackson for $3,600, if I recall correctly from his videos. So if I were Tyler Hoover and that's just some friendly advice here. Perhaps instead of offering me his cars at a discount, he should be selling them on Cars and Bids and obtaining the full market value of those vehicles. I hope to capture his SLR upside that I think he also maybe left on the table, but he absolutely killed it, dude. Also, 16.5 for that Cadillac sedan DeVille it was in Breaking Bad, but I mean, that is a $650 car otherwise.
Yeah, totally. Sometimes it's easier to just sell the car to cheapskate Nick, as he calls you, and just kind of let it happen.
Yeah.
Okay. We got it. Hoovie did well. Hoovie got money now. He's good. He's going to repair his engine in his 300 SL. We can't wait to see him again when his next round of financial misfortune arrives. Do we all agree?
Yep.
I just can't wait to see him again. I love Tyler.
I would hope that he comes sooner, but he doesn't seem to. He only seems to come when there's financial misfortune. Okay, I want to talk about I want to move on to questions. Is you ready for the questions? The questions are sponsored by Hoovie's Engine Failure 997, which sold for 18 or something, which also seems like all the money. First question is from A.E. DeVito. Nick, you see this question? A few weeks ago, Doug mentioned on the pod he had a Facebook Marketplace story he was going to share in a later pod. It's been a few pods. He still hasn't shared the story. All right, you want me to share the story? Here's what happened. I found an E55 wagon that I wanted, a 210, the good body, on Facebook Marketplace. I was ready to buy the car that moment. I'm let's just get the deal done. I'm today, right now. Send a message to the guy, nothing. Finally, he gets back to me at like 10, 11 p.m. I could call you right now. I'm like, I'm good. Next day, I call him. I say, hey, what's the status of the car? You got the title? Yeah. Can you send me anything, pictures, underside? Yeah. Okay. How about you do that? Like, I'm ready to buy the car. I want to see underside photos and a picture of the title, okay? 4 days went by, and of me just pestering him nonstop, including at one point he goes, I got a guy come up from the Bay Area. He says he's going to buy the car, and he was selling another one, and he's going to buy both of them. And I'm like, okay, sell them. Every time somebody says that to me. And then if they go back and forth. Have you got the pictures yet? I'll get them by 5. 7 rolls around. You got the pictures yet? Oh, and at one point he said, what did he say? He locked himself out of his house. The next day he had some family emergency. I mean, it was just unending Facebook Marketplace BS. And each day would go by. He'd set his own deadline for when he was going to give me whatever I had asked for, 2 things, and he would miss his own deadline. Finally, he sends me a video, and underside the car, there's just a ton of chassis paint. And to me, chassis paint is worse than rust. The moment I see chassis paint, I just bail because I don't know what you did. I would rather see rust and just start going after it myself. And in this case, I actually would have bought the car if it was rusty, but he showed me the chassis paint, and I realized 2 things. One was I wasn't going to be buying the car. And number 2 was the reason he had needed the 4 days was because he needed to get the chassis paint on the car and let it dry. That's what happened. And that is Facebook Marketplace in a nutshell. And that was my first ever Facebook Marketplace experience. I'm an old school Craigslist man. I used to buy and sell a bunch of trash on Craigslist, which was the same sort of experience, but when I was in my 20s, that was okay. I don't do Facebook Marketplace, and I am reminded of why. And I understand that listing on Cars and Bids or Bring the Trailer, it's harder. I get that. It's worth it.
that barrier to entry blocks people like that from listing because they never get around to completing their listing.
That is exactly it. That is exactly it. And yes, people are like, oh, the commenters are annoying. You know what's annoying? Dealing with the type of people who are selling stuff on Facebook or buying stuff on Facebook Marketplace. And I was a buyer who was legitimately wire ready in the moment. Like if he had said to me, here's some pictures without the chassis paint he put on. He also messed up the VIN and sent the wrong VIN of the wrong car at some point. He was just so scattered. And I'm like, this is a chaotic person. And I'm not doing, like, this is what Facebook Marketplace is. It's an utter dumpster fire. And from that moment, I lost a little respect for Nick because I realized, like, he's one of these people.
He thrives in this environment. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You might be an old school Craigslist guy. I'm a big eBay fan for selling old paraphernalia and stuff around the house. For cars, I've sold all of them on Cars and Bids for the most part for the last 5 so years. So
because of this, I assume.
No, it weeds out a lot of the unserious buyers because as a seller, sure, I might be flaky, but like you get so many weird scammers and weird stuff and like people wasting your time. Like it's actually a waste of time on both sides. So selling their cars in bids like does like one, I only have to answer the comment once. I don't have to like keep republishing it.
It's
like
kind of funny because
everything's there in one place.
Cars and bids makes you put in the time in the front end, and a lot of people don't want to do that. And what they don't realize is they're going to end up putting in the same amount of time in a lot of ways. Like on the back end, dealing with all the BS. It's easier to just take 2 cell phone pictures and put it up on Facebook Marketplace, but then the trash happens. God, it was a horrible experience. Never again. Okay. Next question. I haven't looked at the questions yet. Who's your tax advisor? Do not sell the Ford GT for another Ford GT. And he goes into the whole thing, capital gains and all that. Folks, we ain't declaring anything. Nick, you ever declare anything? Nick makes 0 income according to the IRS, people. Come on.
That is definitely not true. Do not audit me. I have an accountant. Thank you. We pay quarterly. I don't know how it works in terms of declaring gains on cars. I plead ignorance, Your Honor.
Yeah. Okay. Let me.
I've also not really had that situation ever happen. I think if you take all the losses for the Arnage and so on, and then the wins for the other cars, I think I would be blessed to be break even.
Yeah. No, I don't think you've had wins.
The Mercy did well. The first P38 I made a little money on. That will definitely be canceled out by the second P38.
Even though it was free.
Yeah. Let's just say I saw Hoovie's 10K result for his P38 and I was awfully jealous. Thought, oh, that looks like a life raft. I'd still lose money on it, but it would be an acceptable outcome.
Next question from Horse Meatballs. Hey, Doug and side characters. Now that the Luce has been unveiled, at what price point would it become an attractive buy in the used market?
I don't think there's a number quite low enough.
Yeah. No. I mean,
I don't want an electric Ferrari. Like, it's just, I don't, under any circumstances.
For $2,100, I mean, you wouldn't get it. It does 0 to 60.
It's like the Cybertruck where at some point it becomes cheap enough that you just buy it as a utility vehicle.
I wouldn't want to be seen in such a thing.
It's pretty embarrassing. So you would need to be compensated beyond just the stats to say, all right, this also offsets the fact that I'd be embarrassed to be seen in it. So it's whatever a equivalent EV, like a Tesla Model S Plaid, then I would want maybe 30% off of a Model Plaid to compensate for the fact that I'd have to be seen driving it.
Yeah. That's probably accurate. You don't think the Ferrari badge? I do think being seen driving it is going to be a real drawback. Like the type of people who think that's cool. Oh my God. Can you imagine?
I can, and I suspect we'll run into them. But I think that I'd so much rather be seen in a Mondial. Like that is to me like much cooler and in an ironic way, and like that. It's a much more appealing.
You always joke the Arnage was the car that you'd fire someone's dad in. Like the Luce is the car that you deployed an AI agent to wipe out the entire company. Like it's just like you are just such an evil tech overlord if you own this car that like it's just.
I don't think any serious person though is buying that car. Like the tech overlords you're talking about are way too sophisticated to participate in this farce.
Right,
I really think
F1.
Yeah, and or like Mark Zuckerberg's PR people advise them to like buy certain cars and wear a chain to look cool.
Like the stretched Cayenne.
Yeah, which I also think was a PR stunt, like to appear cool. I don't even think those guys. I think they would realize the reputational harm and not be willing to be seen in it.
Yeah, I think so. A couple other good questions, actually. This one from Ian J. Doug, will FL5 Civic Type R values ever fall? I see dealers and on your site selling for sticker or over with some miles on them. Where do you see that market going? You know, it's actually an interesting question because those cars, we just had a sale of the previous generation, and I was thinking this exact same thing. Kennan, pull up.
Kennan and I are both busy Googling FL5 Civic. FL5
Civic is the FL5 Civic is the current FL. is the current body style. And the previous one, we just had a sale of a previous one a couple of months ago in the mid to high 20s. And I was having the same thoughts, although in the mid to high 20s, you are starting to see decline. But it is interesting to me. Those cars have really, 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 really held their value well. You're looking at 2017 models at $27,000 with real miles on them, 50, 60,000 miles. And I have to assume the FL5 market will follow the market of the previous generation car, and it's going to be a slow depreciation curve. But the benefit is, if you buy one, yes, it's a high price of entry for, I think, what the car is, especially as it starts to age, but it's a very reliable car, it's fun to drive, and you don't lose much. And you really want the FL5 and not the earlier body, which is heinous.
Right. It looks less heinous than I remember them looking as time has gone on, but it's a lot of styling. It is a lot of styling.
Of the old one.
Of the earlier car, yeah.
Yeah, the FK8. I love the FL5 Civic Type R. I personally prefer the Integra, and I would suggest that, but those haven't depreciated either. The market's wise to that whole thing. Next question, and this is a great one from Colby Queso. This is a question Kennan and I discuss a lot. Hey, Doug and esteemed co-hosts, I really wanted to buy a 550 Maranello in the next couple of years. In 2024, a Rosso Corsa manual 550 sold for $117,500. Over the weekend, Cars and Bids sold one for $240,000. Same year, same color, transmission, similar miles. Wow. Is that now the going rate for a 550 these days? I mean, Kennan and I talk a lot about, like, a lot of the cars, whatever your scale is, there are a lot of cars you're going to just not be able to buy. Like,
yeah. I've honestly been, I have been kind of depressed recently. I mean, it's great to see, like, especially as a platform, to see the cars selling for a lot. But as an enthusiast who loves them, it feels like the goalpost has moved quite a bit. And I think that there are a number of reasons for that, in addition to, like, the cars that Ferrari seems to want to produce now. But also, like, these cars are 25 years or older. They've hit that classic of, like, what we dreamt of them as kids. Now people have disposable income and they're going up. Yep. People have also become a lot more hip to them, being into cars. Information's a lot more out there. People know more about these cars.
I've also started to notice really a lot that cars have become an alternative investment in a way that...
no question.
But in a way that I think 15 years ago it wasn't. And 15 years ago, there were 4 cars that rose in value. And even then, you were kind of lucky if you broke even after insurance and storage and all that. These days, there's kind of an expectation among people who buy some of these older cars that they will rise in value. And so they've become kind of stores of money and investment vehicles. Which, if you're a car enthusiast, there's some sadness there that, like, a lot of these cars are gone. But I think it's not just happening to, say, 550 Maranellos. You look at the whole market and it's happening. And I think, yes, young people are getting the money. More people have more money. People are looking at cars as an investment. And people, yes, are more aware, too, of values and of what it takes to own these cars and that sort of thing. And I really think that cars are becoming similar to art. People are looking at it kind of like an investment.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly with all of that. I hate to use the word investment because anytime you say it to a car enthusiast, we all get up in arms about it. Yeah. Which I don't think is unreasonable necessarily. But it used to be that, like, we used to say that, no, cars are horrible investments. It's like, well, not all of them. There are some.
Not all of them. And these days, not even that many of the release of the, if you're even smart a little, GT3 RSs, if 997 GT3 RSs are $600,000 cars now. Like, if you didn't go and buy a rich guy go fast, a stupid McLaren or something that is just going to completely depreciate. Like, there are a lot of cars out here that really have gone up in value. And a lot of people probably think they're brilliant, but maybe it's more people entering the market. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But I think a lot of people need to reset their expectations on what they're going to be able to afford. I know I have. There were cars that I thought I got to this level I'd be able to afford, and I can't. And I know you feel the same way, Kennan. And it's kind of funny that, like, it doesn't matter what your level is. You're still sitting here thinking, damn, some of these cars are out of reach.
Yeah, well, like this 355 is a good example. I had a 355. It was a Spider, 96 Spider, red tan, 25,000 miles, which is low-ish. Sold for $143,500 for a Spider, not a GTB, not a GTS, a Spider. So, like, there's definitely movement in this. My advice always is, like, buy a car you love, because whether it goes up or if it goes up, awesome, great for you. That makes the end of ownership experience much better. But if it doesn't, or it goes down, then at least you had some fun memories. You go out and use it. That does make it a more appealing thing than having, buying more index funds and having being a ledger on a computer screen. Like, at least You can go.
You know what my
touch it,
problem
see it.
is,
It's
and
crazy.
will remain, is that I bought my Ford GT for $225,000, and in my head, that's still a $225,000 car.
I know.
Like,
I know.
that's what I paid.
Anymore.
That's what I paid. And so, like, when I see like the 993 Turbo at 240, and I sit here and I'm like, that's insane. You could buy a Ford GT for that. Well, no, everything is up, and it's just crazy to me what a $200,000 car now is, what a $100,000 special car now is. It's not what it used to be for sure.
But it applies to everyone in the market. My E36 M3 I bought for $6,500. Now it's like getting a good E36 M3.
Yeah.
It's like you're in the mid 20s. So it's like, you know, it's everything. So
I think it's also just human nature across all assets.
Right.
Like you always want a house that's about 20% out of your budget. You want a car that's about 20% out of your budget. You want the pair of sunglasses like Ryan Lopez has that costs $1,000, but you can only afford the who's today's sponsor? Warby Parker, the best sunglasses out there. You get my point, right? Like we always want the thing that's just slightly out of reach. That includes
I
cars.
guess, but my point was, and the guy writing in, his point is, we thought if we got to a certain dollar number, we'd be able to get. I didn't always want an F40 because it was slightly out of reach, but it has certainly gotten that way. And I thought that if I'd got to a certain point, I'd be able to afford one. And I'm sure you feel that way, Kennan, about some of the cars that you were thinking. Like 550s,
I do.
The 550s were $100,000 cars for a long time, and it was like, oh, if I need $100,000, I can go buy a 550. Well, that's
even at 150, it's like that. I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's like, oh, it's doable. Well, now at like 300 in some cases for really nice examples, it's like that's just becoming untenable. It really is, and you know. So but it is interesting the cars that haven't done that, or the cars that are going the opposite direction. It's like
the Mercedes McLaren SLR.
Well, or the
on that
Daytona.
topic, on that topic, the final question I want to get to is question for all from JP Fellner. What is the number one rich guy go fast car? On this podcast, I sometimes complain about cars that rich people buy thinking that they're cool just because they're fast. Like, and they're not cars that enthusiasts would buy. They're not enthusiast cars. And I call them rich guy go fasts because it's just a car. Rich guy goes into a dealer. He just sold a company. He's got some money. He wants people to respect him and think he's cool. So he goes and buys and I think to me, the number one is the Maserati Gran Turismo. I think that at $240,000, whatever those cost, is like the deepest rich guy go fast. But it's a McLaren also. What else is it?
The entire modern McLaren product line, all of it. Like that's the epitome to me. Like because it shows, that I mean they're great drivers' cars, but that's not why most people buy them.
I totally agree. I completely agree. I think the 765 LT I would hold out as a little bit of an exception. I think it takes a little bit of. I think as a rich guy go fast, I think you just don't. You don't understand what makes that car special. Do you know what I mean? So you would just get a 750S because it's like, they look the same and they're both really fast. Everybody's going to think I'm cool. It requires a little bit more enthusiast capability to understand the 765 LT. Other than that, yes, the McLaren lineup.
I was going to say the SF90.
Yeah,
because it requires a certain level of unsophisticated Ferrari buyer at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. Right. The SF90 absolutely requires somebody who doesn't understand that they're going to get hosed. That's true.
A lot of people have moved into the modern GT3 RS. It used to be Huracans for this case, and now a lot of people buy that. And I'm not saying it's like I understand a lot of sophisticated people buy those cars too, but the number of GT3 RSs I see, and I realize we live in Southern California, but we see them a lot. They're around. Like Car Week this year, that was like the performance car we saw the most of.
Can I say something slightly triggering?
I think that enough of those sell to real enthusiasts that it's not quite on that level yet. I think that I would argue that basically no SF90 is sold to real enthusiasts.
That's true.
Right?
That is true. I can't think of many.
I was thinking your 911 too because you can't assume there's a wide variety from the hardcore track enthusiasts to the rich guy go fast. But if it has a giant circle on the door with a number in it, I'm suspicious of you.
Yeah.
I think there's a high degree of probability that we won't have much in common, even if it is some special edition and you are a real enthusiast.
Unless it's a Ford GT Heritage, am I right?
Even then, we're a little questionable.
We're questioning that one. What about the Revuelto?
Unless it's number 99 and I think you're Wayne Gretzky, then I will definitely have a conversation.
Okay, this is a beautiful podcast. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And Nick, good luck in life.
He's going to need it.
Best of luck with your upcoming Stellantis purchase there on the island, buddy.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.